Hey everyone, as a part of documenting my process and learnings, I'm creating this video. And for the future user interfaces which I'll be creating, I'll be doing the same. So let's hop on to the this particular user interface. What I've done in this is I've replicated a user interface specifically of SoundCloud. Now what I did was I hopped on to Mobin and there I looked for different flows and I decided that there's a lot of different properties and different approaches I can use in order to create this. So I decided to select SoundCloud's home screen to replicate. Now moving on, you can see that there are multiple things arranged, organized right at the right. Usually these exist in different components page, but for ease of explanation, I've brought it right here. So what I've done is, like you can see that these are under frames. So any icon here, even in the status bar, is swappable. So I can just go here, select this, and then swap from the icons. Similarly, I've done the same thing for images as well. So you can see that there are multiple cover images of the music, and I can just go inside. And in these, you can see there are multiple component properties which I've used. And here I can select from the list of all the cover images available, right? So I've done this by taking a frame, naming it images, and then adding it. And I'll be getting back to the plugins and things I've used in order to reduce my efforts. But before that, let's see the final result. As you can see that this whole thing is scrollable as well as vertically. So I have just used basic prototype settings of your Figma in order to achieve this effect. So if you can see right here, what I've done is I have taken the component itself and added the scroll behavior horizontal. So what it does is basically whatever items are overflowing, be it will act as a scrollable area. So I've achieved the same thing on the instance here. So this is what I learned is that I don't specifically need to act on the frame, like add the setting on the frame. I can actually use it in the component and it will get transferred over the instance as well. So not only design properties, but prototype properties also get translated to the instances is something which I learned new here. And for and you can see one more problem which I faced while creating this UI was when I created the navbar, it was not filling the whole container and it was constantly uh, getting stuck. Like I was not able to make it responsive. So in order to make it responsive, what I did was I added it in a frame. I set the absolute position of the frame at the bottom, and I made this bottom navigation bars instance uh, specifically filling the container to this. Like so, what I did was I set the constraint for this navbar right here to fill, and what it is filling is this particular frame right here. So if I did this directly instead of using this method, what it did was it was not able to fill the whole container. So if I do the responsive check, you can see that it is not working right now. So in order to achieve that, I learned that I have to create a frame and set its absolute position, and also the frame itself, the parent frame which I'm filling, should have auto layout in it in order for this to fill the frame, right? And for now, this is something which I feel I approached uniquely was instead of creating two variants for each button, the whole navbar is one single component and multiple variants of it. So if I just hop into prototype, you can see I have made it work. Like right now, I've not designed each page, but if I go into these buttons, I can press them and use them. So all these work through one single component and I have made them switch between them. So this helped me make it faster, efficient, and also organized better. What I did was I observed for patterns, like what are the patterns? As you can see, the whole page in itself is constrained in an auto layout. So the spacing between them is 20 pixels, and you can see there are patterns which are getting repeated. So this card itself is getting repeated. So what I did was I just created one single scrollable section. In this, there is a heading and there is a lack of subheading. So the main component uh, consisted of this. However, the instances don't because I can make changes to the instances and make a separate instance, like having its own properties, which is a little different from the component, right? So I can do that as well. So in order to reduce my efforts, I made just one single one, and now I can turn it into three different sections, right? And also in this section itself, you can see that each and every uh, album cover and its text is getting repeated. So I created one single section for that. So now I have this component, and in this everything can be swapped. So you can see that I've created a swap instance property right here, and when I'm using it in the instance, I can directly swap between any of the image, right? Similarly for the text as well. So the text was in a similar pattern, that there is a subheading and there is something describing what it is. So what I did was, for every card, I've created a text property, and now I can directly edit this property, right? Now, now making now this whole thing came together and this UI was created. However, before I started, what I did was I approached it by declaring all the styles. So I saw what type of font is the closest to SoundCloud. So I found Inter was the closest, and I went it and created a text style, right? And I declared it. Similarly for the subtitle, like all these texts, the small text, there was subtitle which had the settings for pixel size 12, and you can see that it was semi-bold. Now these properties I declared and I used it everywhere. Now you can see even in the text itself, in subtitle there were difference in colors, right? So what I did was I went ahead, and once I uh, declared all the text styles, I declared all the color styles. So now I can simply first type what I want to type, select its text style, and now I can use the particular fill. So complement light. Now I have a text for this particular corresponding to this text, right? Of the right color. So this is how I approached making this. I'm pretty sure I can improve it a little. And as I go on making more and more US, I'm going to be making it more efficient and using more advanced features. Thank you.